Okay, so I'm going to layer some wrinkles over the face, and I'm going to separate the high frequency details, so I'm getting only the wrinkles. First thing, I'll just roughly position the image, and I can move the pivot point to the place where it's already well established and go from there. I can rotate and scale from this point over here. Okay, so if I start from the eyes, you can see that my face is a bit longer. So what I'm gonna do is use Puppet Warp, but maybe not the whole thing. Why not? I'll use Puppet Warp on the whole thing. So you can control the opacity all the way through the process. So what I want to do is I want to keep the eyes in their current place. So I'm going to pin them. Maybe pin the forehead. And then I'm going to move the chin a bit lower. So I'll have a couple pins around the mouth. And I can keep checking. So clearly the right corner of the mouth is way too high. I can lower it. And maybe bring the left one in as well. Now, maybe raise a bit the middle point. Something like that. And then I want to match this eye as well. There we go. Something like that. Now, maybe raise the wrinkles on the forehead. It covers more of my bold forehead. And bring the jaw out a bit. Something like this. I can zoom in now. There's a bit of an issue there with the eye being partially closed. Okay, so now what I'm going to do with this deformed face is just trace it a bit better, select just the parts that interest me, minus the hair, I suppose. Oops. There we go. And I'm going to blur the edges a bit, or feather them. Something like that. Maybe I don't need more contrast, but I will shift it a bit inwards so I don't get all that hair. So that's my selection. I'm gonna copy and paste it on a new layer with Control Shift V. And I think it's a good time to fix this area of the eyes. I'll do another puppet warp and maybe move the eyebrow lower a bit as well. Yeah, this is this is a little bit off the mark. And of course I have to pin all the other areas so I don't move them. Let's see what happens if I do this. Something like that, and then just open the eye a bit. Let's see. So I wouldn't call it perfect, but I think it will be sufficient for what I'm doing. Oh, another thing, I want to look around the nostrils. So the nostrils are a bit crooked. I can move them in a bit. And maybe move the whole area a little bit higher. Like that. That will do. And maybe just for the nose, I can just grab the nose area, copy and paste it over top with Control-Shift-V, and then maybe Puppet warp that as well. Just before I paste it, I'll refine edges again. A good idea to feather it so it blends a bit better. So Control-C, Control-Shift-V, and then a bit more Puppet warp. And I'm pinning the edges of it. I just want to make the middle bit of the nose a bit wider, just like mine is. Something like that. So before, after. And yeah, that looks fine. So what I'll do, I'll combine these two layers, make another duplicate. This one is going to be called blurred. This is going to be edit. And then I'm going to put one on top. And that one's going to be detail. So next thing I'm going to do is blur the blurred layer. I hate the detail. So, and the idea of blurring it is to get rid of a certain level. Of detail. So if I'm blurring it out of view, that means that's the detail I'm going to separate. There's my blurred image. There's my detail layer. And the trick here is to go under image and then apply image and select the layer that you're going to apply it to. So I'm going to select blurred. So what it will do with the settings like so subtract under blending, scale of 2 and offset of 128. These are the settings. I'm not sure why, I don't remember why, but that's the settings I use. Hit OK, and it creates this almost black and white, kind of grayish map. And if you switch it to linear light, you can see, if I put it in a folder, I can turn it on and off, and you can see it's basically the same as the original. I can hide it. So what I can do now, I can get rid of this, and I can come in and make a black mask. So I created a white mask, and then I Control-I, inverted it. And now I can paint in the details where I want them. I can come in here, start adding a bit more wrinkles to my face. Get rid of the hair. And if I bring back the hair, you can see it brings just the finer detail of the hair. So in this way I can come in and start introducing details and wrinkles selectively. That way, if there's a fold that doesn't quite go on the nostril, or there's like another detail that's not perfectly matched, I can mask it out and then bring it again later if I so choose. So you can see that the mouth is not properly aligned, but that's fine because I'm completely ignoring the fold, the crease line. Just masking it out. And there we go, basically. That's how I can extract really quickly a bit of wrinkle detail and just stick them on my face, and then I zoom out. You can see the effects of that. Now, if I bring the blurred image back and I mask it and remove it that way, I can also slowly introduce some of the bigger forms that happened in the original to kind of make it appear even more realistic. I'm just gently bringing those in where I feel like they're needed. So without, with. And we can try the same experiment on a different, younger face. I think this time I'll start with just getting the face itself. So I get a bit more resolution when I'm puppet warping it. And I'm going to flip horizontal. So the lighting comes from the same-ish direction. And now if I reduce the opacity, I can match one eye, move my pivot point over there. Interesting. Oh, I see. There we go. And now I could basically puppet warp it again, just to get it to follow a bit better. Now, besides puppet warping, there's many other things you could do. To get a good match, you can copy and paste different parts of it. Okay. And it's good to switch back and forth. Now the nose needs to go here. It is a bit of a different perspective, but we just want the wrinkles, so perspective is not that important. I can still widen the right side and shrink the left. Something like that. Maybe move the whole bottom area a little bit to the left as well. Let's see. Yeah, that's a bit better. So let's see what happens if I use just this. Get rid of this. Now duplicate. This is gonna be my blurred layer. And then duplicate again, and it's gonna be my detail layer. So again, I'm gonna blur out the detail. Something like that. Yeah, that's fine. And I'm going to use again the apply image function. Select the blurred layer from here and hit OK. And set it on linear light again. Now I can hide my originals and slowly bring it in. So you can see that the jaw here is not coming out enough. We can either mask it out, or we can edit it again and then apply our filter back when we need to. So I definitely don't want to go over the eyes, but I want to go around the eyes and get those nice wrinkles to come out. And not to have a doubling up of the nose, just go around it. Now another thing I can do when I come inside here, I can bring back my my blurred image and then again mask it out and bring it back where I need it to remove a bit of that highlight, because that's a bit too much. And mask it around the chin. So we can get something like this fairly fast. And the same way, you could get like maybe scales of a lizard. So I'm going to isolate the area, maybe around the eye. Blur it a bit, or feather. And then copy and paste, hide this one, and drag it into a new group. Now, depends on what you want to do. In this case, I'll just kind of match the eye positioning, and I'll use some of those eye wrinkles. Now, another thing I could do is maybe grab this whole area, because I like it, and feather it a bit, feather the selection, copy, paste, and I can get rid of the rest of it. So now, I make this a bit bigger and position it. It could be some cheek scales and some eye scales. And again, I can combine the two layers, duplicate, that's gonna be my blur, and duplicate, that's gonna be my detail. So first, get a nice blurred version of this, and then second, apply image to the second blur. Again, you want to have names that are individual, but this is easy enough, there's only two of them. Same settings, scale of 2, offset of 128. And, okay. High pass, or sorry, linear light. And I can group all of this, so it's easier to turn on and off. Get rid of this, get rid of that. Maybe put a mask over everything, inverted, and then I can slowly start bringing it back. So I can keep the scales kind of skin color. Or I could slowly paint in. Again, I'm giving it a black mask, and now I'm painting with white to give it a bit more substance. So I'm reintroducing some of the original colors, but not fully. So if I go alt click inside the mask, you can see them only bringing up part of it. And you can get something like that. And that's about it. You could also record the whole process into an action, and I can show it in a later video.